It's Wednesday again for the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable is back, sharing the presence, sharing the peace of of my being and the encouragement for a roundtable gathering, the welcomeness. I'm gonna go on Instagram also. Let this go live. We are propagating the stream of consciousness that's coming through each of us, and each of us has a unique divine perspective to share. You are welcome to share yours every week on the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable. I can send a link if you send me a message or leave a comment wherever you're watching this stream, and I'll welcome you in. It starts in 3 hours. It's 4 p.m. where I am in Montenegro. And so at 7 p.m., I'll go live on Zoom with the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable 14, and excited to discover who turns up. It's always a mixed bag of people, and it's more slowly getting, like I said, we're getting the propagation of the presence of the opportunity, and so we'll see who turns up. At first, I was also live streaming these onto my YouTube channel, but then I stopped, so it could be more contained, I guess. Allow people to share more authentically, more vulnerably, not worrying about their sharings being broadcast live. Although that is tons of fun, and if there are people who like that idea, I'm still open to doing that again in the future. Next week, I'll do it at a different time because I'm excited to join a cacao ceremony. It's at a eco community of sorts here in Montenegro. So a place I haven't been, but looking forward to discover Pachamama, which is up the coast from where I am. So that's going to be great. And so we'll do the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable next week at a different time, possibly just earlier in the day. But I will let you know once I decide, and we can maybe discuss it also today if people are interested in having an ongoing thread. And I think that's the way that it will be the most valuable for anyone that would like to participate in this free offering, is to show up consistently, or at least start with one if you haven't already. We have some people that come back again and again, so that's the best. That's my ideal situation, is to be developing, because you can only learn a little bit at a time from other perspectives, and it's a long process, which is why I'm hosting these free weekly calls to increase the exchange, to hold space for discussions, reflection, introspection, sharing of our truth, exploring it from within, finding the places within us that are not our authentic voice, right? The voices of social conditioning that's telling us this or that, and maybe limiting our potential in life, which is often the case. And when we gather and have a satsang, as they say in India, that's like a spiritual gathering where we have this opportunity to reflect and to be in each other's energy. Although we're in different spaces physically, we can share psychic space in these gatherings, and it's a transformational opportunity, especially with with the intention for that. If we if we gather with the intention to root out those self-destructive tendencies, to identify where they are, and to bring in organic, wholesome, authentic voice of the soul to be expressed, and we can practice expressing it with each other. This is the whole goal and the intention. So those who are interested are most welcome. If we can share this intention to grow together, to transform ourselves from displaced, disjointed, confused, overwhelmed, to creating more coherence, to creating more positive connection, loving and compassionate interaction and exchange. Um, the idea is for us to speak and be witnessed, to hear our own perspectives and perspectives of others, from a space of, ideally non-judgment. Of course, judgment is something that comes up like a weed, and we can't notice it when it does, and work our way towards that ideal of equanimous mind, of uh, neutral observation, to uh, to seek persistently and from uh, a calm and a grounded space into what it is that we hold as our truth, and how that, how we remain open to it being influenced from truths that others speak, and we do this all the time, from things we read, things we watch, observations we make. It's always a learning journey. That's really what it's all about, exploring together, the joy of learning, a discussion that's ongoing. We're working towards a greater mastery of our communication on the internal, on the subtle levels. We'll have opportunities to drop in, to really communicate within all of our cells of our body. This is a process of embodiment, a practice of embodiment, having presence, because it's not just the brain that has intelligence, right? We have intelligence in our bodies, and there's an amazing amount of things that we can reveal to ourselves if we take the time to be present and consciously aware, to be grounded, to be embodied. This is I would say it's a gift of mine to share, and to set an example, to hold the frequency of a powerful embodiment. I've been blessed in my upbringing, and to have this growth and development in my the level of embodiment of how in touch I am with feeling my body. Actually, I feel like my natural observation is an inward. I'm monitoring my feeling within, more than I'm observing the surroundings. And I've noticed this time and time again, of how people I interact with are more tuned into the things that they see, and me, I'm kind of, you can see my eyes are like squinted a lot, right? I'm not the type of, like, I guess neurotic, like hyper aware to the environment, like uh outward stimulus. I'm more kind of just like focused on what I'm feeling, on what I'm hearing a lot. I have a high focus towards the auditory sense, and we all have a unique combination of how we perceive the world. Which senses are more activated, the ones that you know come naturally to us. and and that's what's so beautiful about having an exchange with someone, is to learn and to try and understand how they have a different way of being in the world, of seeing and perceiving. And we can go deeply into that during these gatherings. uh, and that's just from like a raw experiential standpoint. But I would love and so encourage a sharing around our cultural identities, our cultural backgrounds, and how those are reflected, because ultimately the direction that I'm moving in my life is, uh, like I said, towards a mastery and communication, towards a deep understanding of the culture, of the ancestry, of the how our genetic lineage is reflecting in our behaviors. And the culture is such a huge aspect of who we are, right? And in these times, we have the Aquarian Renaissance. It's a new culture that's emerging through us, and we can look to each other and look to the past to try and understand what it is that's meant to be birthed, and to draw inspiration, and to channel solutionary action into the world through us. uh, and it all starts with being open to explore and to consider. I would like to say that this is going to be the Aquarian age of consideration. And a lot of places that we look now, it doesn't seem like that's the case. And because it's darkest before the dawn, uh, the level of consideration people have for one another maybe is at an all-time low. Um, or maybe we've passed the low, and we are on our way up towards greater compassion, towards greater consideration, which is appreciation, which is gratitude. And this movement, in my weekly email newsletter that I write, and the membership that I've got planned to unveil, it's called Into Gratefulness. And the quest is to step into gratitude, to gratefulness, and integrate more of who we are because of that, cultivating that vibration. And so this is, if we can analyze and kind of ruminate about the cultural influences that we each are bringing at this time, and where they serve us and where they actually detract, what we want to keep and what we want to let go of for each of us individually. And it's the other important key aspect, the philosophy that I want to share, and that I hope people will resonate with. And if you don't, that's fine. And that's the point, is that we each have the power, and we should have the freedom to hold our own values, and to make our own laws for our own experience in this life, and to live and let live, to allow others to do the same, right? We are all creating in a unique way, and that deserves honor, wherever it's not causing harm, right? This is the fundamentals of our freedom and our law and our actual rights, is that we can do anything we desire. We can celebrate, we can whatever it is that floats the boat, just so long as it's not causing harm, right, to another, or to their property, to the things which we claim. And where is the boundary of that? It's still undetermined, of what can I claim as mine. I know I was walking around my neighborhood yesterday, and this is something that often I think about and dwell on, is how everyone kind of has their enclosures that they claim, and it makes it difficult for for roaming, like you have to navigate around all the maze of private properties that we have set up, unless there's some kind of easement and there's access. And these are things I dream of all the time. How can we, increase the level of communication and collaboration, so that we make our environment more conducive for everyone to flow. Maybe there is more ease because there's more easement, and that's what I think is meant to unfold, is to allow not only for humans to walk around and be safe, and to have access to more spaces on the earth, in and around the places where we dwell, our habitat, right? How can we increase the level of communication with our neighbors, with our surroundings, with people on a wide scale, a wide range of locations, so that we allow sharing the earth. That's what it's all about, sharing the earth. And my journey has been in permaculture, which is a resurgence of indigenous values, basically. But permaculture has three core values, which are earth care, people care, and fair share. And they all integrate, right? They all integrate into a way of being that is conducive to sharing the earth, to have access, to have easement, and to have respect for your space at the same time. It's a delicate balance, and I think to provide satisfaction and great fullness of a potential of what we can accomplish, how we can live together with one another, with the plants and animals and all of life. It's it takes communication. It takes sitting down. It takes walking together. It takes the whole, holding hands, and also finding where we have differences, and making the effort to understand, to be curious what are the perspectives others are holding. So that's what it's all about. That's the message, really. I look forward to hosting you, if you would like to join today at in 3 3/4 hours, 7 p.m. in Central Europe. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Time in the US, for our 14th Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable. And there's something else that I want to try sharing on this live stream, and let's see if I can do it. And it's called Toxic Nation.
I don't know how we stand a chance as a human species when many of the biggest financial institutions in the world own both the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry.
We know we're sick. We know it has to be an environmental toxin, because you cannot have a genetic epidemic that happens over the course of 40 years.
Unless we realize why we're poisoning ourselves, from our food system to our vaccine schedule to our pharmaceutical schedule, and use the healthcare budget to re-engineer our agriculture systems and our environment to not poison ourselves, we will cease to exist as a people.
In the 1960s, the chronic disease rate among Americans was about 6%. By 2006, 54% of children had chronic disease. And this is a devastating pandemic. And of course, the regulatory agencies do not want to look at this issue, because the entities that are creating these toxic exposures are politically powerful.
The number one reason why most people don't feel well, end up with a diagnosis, is because the amount of toxins that we're accumulating from the womb to the tomb in our tissues.
It's amazing testimony to our resilience that we are all still here. Because if you look at the sheer volume of toxicants we're exposed to throughout the day, even in our air, we are being absolutely poisoned.
The plastics, the lead, the aluminum, the mercury. They're finding a teaspoon of plastic in human brains.
The FDA created in 1958 what's called the GRAS policy, which is the generally recognized as safe regulatory approach, self-certification. And the self-certification basically says that a company, if they create their own laboratory-produced ingredient that's modified from nature, they can hire their own independent experts, put a stamp on it that says this is safe, and then it makes its way into our food supply in a couple months. And if you contrast that to Europe, they have far lower incidences of heart disease, obesity, chronic disease, lower cancer rates.
There's over 10,000 chemicals allowed for use, whereas in countries in Europe, it's only 400. Why are we giving our American children these extra chemicals that are harmful here in the United States when these food companies have already figured out how to reformulate their products with safer alternatives?
Suddenly, American exceptionalism was out the window. We're being poisoned more than anyone else on the earth.
Anybody in the United States who had a urine test today, they're probably going to find some glyphosate in it. It's almost impossible to avoid. That's how bad it is.
Glyphosate requires a hazmat suit. It kills everything in sight.
The source of the most toxins is seed oils. They are worse than glyphosate, herbicides, pesticides, artificial colorings, flavorings combined.
In the early
my
1900s,
God.
they figured out how to press oil out of
a big
seeds.
claim.
It's really seed oil, it's not vegetable oil. And initially, this oil was used as industrial lubricants for machines.
When you've been eating seed oils, your body fat has too many polyunsaturates. Your cells can't get energy out of it efficiently. That's why we have an obesity epidemic, and that's what causes plaque and heart attacks and strokes.
Fluorine is the most negatively charged non-radioactive element in the periodic table. It is an industrial waste product. They have to wear hazmat suits in New York City to dump this fluoride into the water, because there's very powerful money behind keeping this barbaric practice. The real problem is you are medicating an entire population without their consent.
People need to have a choice, and they need information.
And Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to put all of those exposures, the ones we eat, the ones we breathe, the ones we drink, and the ones we inject into ourselves, put them on the table. And on top of that, take all the databases we're going to use to study and make them available to everyone in the public.
We have the ability as Americans to not poison our kids. We have the ability to reverse childhood obesity, prediabetes, pediatric cancer. There's a real positive vision.
It makes no sense to have fluoride in our water. I'm very proud of Utah for being the first state to ban it. It has emerged as the leader in making America healthy again.
I'm just so thrilled. I'd connected Donald and Bobby back, I think it was 2015 or 2016, with this big dream of them being able to work together.
When the history books look back, they're going to say MAHA was one of the most powerful movements the United States of America ever saw. That was the moment the people woke up.
What do you know? Poisons. So there's that. Just wanted to put that out there for those of you who are curious about your health. It's an important thing to be curious about and to be vigilant because, yeah, we've got aggressors that are using subtle means to overpower us mentally so they can try and overpower us spiritually. But it's not going to happen. You know why? Because we're infinite beings of creative potential. We're moving into our creatorhood in the Aquarian Renaissance times, and that's right now. So step into your power. Let's hold each other's hands. Let's get curious about our own authenticity, about our true nature, because it's transcendently powerful. Who we truly are is infinite, universal creator beings. And so we're moving into that consciousness, and we're going to change everything for the better. Just wait and see. But don't just wait. Take action. Show up. Be a part of it. Elevate yourself. Dive into the depths of your feeling nature, of your being, of your thinking. Exercise that noodle. Be well, friends. I'm sending you lots of love, and hopefully I'll see you, in 3.5 hours for the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable. Message me or leave a comment, and I can shoot you the link